Hi, I'm Jon Kerrin and I'm a landscape photographer based here in Cape Town. I live here on the Southern Peninsula in Simonstown. And today we've gone out to Cape Point. It's a great time to get out and go and photograph in Cape Point for sunrise. So my love for photography was really inspired by my love for nature. And so that's how I started getting into landscape photography. I found that I was visiting these amazing places here in South Africa and overseas. I had visited the Himalayas, I climbed Kilimanjaro, and I saw these amazing places and I wanted to capture better memories of it. And so I started picking up a camera to experiment. At the time, I was living up in Johannesburg. I was lecturing there, and I felt the need to start taking images on these holiday trips that I went, and I slowly started to fall more and more in love with the art of landscape photography. So the one thing I really love about the landscape photography community is our shared love of being in the outdoors and really just appreciating nature. I think this is what drives us all for getting those good shots. Really just for our appreciation of being in nature and really just capturing those moments. And this is what really inspires us to get up really early to get those epic sunrise shots or stay up really late to get those sunset shots. So really nice to have that supportive community, but also really great for actually improving your photography because you learn from one another, chatting about the experiences you've had, the places you've gone to, how you got that shot, how you made it a sharper shot or a more vivid shot. So there's a lot of great ways to learn from one another, and this is just one of the fantastic parts of landscape photography. So some of my best experiences in landscape photography have been those moments where I've really gone out the way to get the shot. You know, there's been a sense of adventure in getting there and really pursuing that best shot. So one of my favorite shots is a photograph I took of Rabi's Falls. At the time it was in flood and there was this torrential flood coming down, funneling down into that gorge. But that was a nice shot on its own, but what really made it epic was a massive storm that came across it, and then there were big lightning bolts as well. So it just made for a combination of really great elements in the shot that just brought it together, and that's one of my favorite moments. So I personally shoot with the Fuji X system, currently shooting with the X-T3 and the X-T5. These are both really great cameras. As a lens choice for landscape photographers, most people want to go as wide as possible for landscape photography, and so the investment in a wide angle is great and necessary, but a lot of people forget that a telephoto for landscape photography is equally as good and as important. A great telephoto lens can get you a shot far away, the distant mountains. This morning I was shooting primarily on a telephoto lens of the lighthouse in the distance, shooting with my 55-200. So one of the really important things for a landscape photographer to use is a good sturdy tripod, because you're shooting at those low light times around sunrise and sunset. To get those epic sunrises and sunsets where the color is glowing, you generally are extending your shutter speeds, which means that you need to be really stable with your camera. Another thing that I find extremely useful in landscape photography is filters. So starting out, one really important filter for landscape photographers is a polarizer. This is fantastic for just boosting contrast, taking off glare, and it's just an all-around great filter to use. And then if you're looking for those long exposure effects with a nice movement in the water or the long streaks in the cloud, Then moving toward a ND filter, ND3, ND6, ND10 are great filters to use for that. Graduated filters also help control the dynamic range of the scene, and just so that you aren't blowing out the sky while you're exposing correctly for the foreground. So if you're looking to get into landscape photography, there are a few things I can suggest. The one is to find a good community that goes out and photographs. You can find this on Facebook. There's a lot of communities on Facebook that have groups that go out to take photos. There are photo clubs you can join, which often facilitate a group that goes out and teach great skills as well in photography. And also just following inspirational photographers, messaging them. Then there are also courses you can do. And I offer courses in landscape photography and astrophotography around the country, where I take groups out on great adventures to really remote places and capture these moments that are just absolutely fantastic sunrises and sunsets just in these epic locations. And so this is a really great way to not only learn skills in photography, but also learn from the community. So thanks for joining me on this short adventure this morning out to Cape Point. I hope you learned something from this experience. If you want to see more of my work, go check me out on Instagram and Facebook. I go by Where the Light Is. You can also visit my website, jonkerrin.com, or if you want to learn more about my workshops, venturekj.com.